So there's a part of starting that nobody talks about. You know, whenever I hear of people wanting to try something, wanting to get into something, wanting to start something, whether it's creating content, a business, it could be anything, a plethora of things, right? A new experience, a new hobby, whatever it is. People say, well, the best time to start is now, so you should be doing the thing, right? Even if you don't know what you're doing, just do it. And I get that. Like, it is important to start the thing because through the experience, that's where you learn and grow. But there's also a part of the starting journey called preparation, called allowing the idea to become clear in your mind, right? So I remember when I first really wanted to start making this type of content, because I had been making content in different areas, but I wasn't as intentional with it, and I didn't do it in the way that I wanted to do it, like this, right? So when I started really getting into podcast and, you know, content creation in that realm, in the personal development space and things like that, I was going through a lot, and I wasn't really clear on how I wanted to do it. I wasn't really clear on the lane that I wanted to go down. All I knew was that watching these people, watching these podcasts, watching these content creators resonated with me in such a way where I was like, I want to do that. Not exactly what they're doing, but whatever they're doing, the energy that they give off, I wanna radiate that from myself in my own way, right? And so I went into a very deep preparation phase where I was researching, I was studying, I was watching a lot of podcasts, I was watching a lot of content creators, I was taking notes, I was writing down ideas, writing down the goals and all these things, but I had nothing to show for it, right? Like, if I told people, oh, I want to be a content creator, well, where's the content? You're not even doing anything. In my mind, I knew that the writing down the goals and writing down the ideas and studying people and studying and researching topics and podcasts and content creators, I knew that was starting. I knew that was part of me getting to where I needed to be, right? But anytime I heard about the idea of starting, it was always pick up whatever you have, pick up your phone, pick up this, pick up that, and just start. And I was just like, I never felt right doing that, right? And I do think there is a balance. I don't think you need to have the nicest equipment. I don't think you need to have everything figured out. But I do think you need to be clear mentally, you know what I mean, on how you want to approach it. Because for me, I knew I was gonna do it. I trusted myself enough to know that when it was that time to go and start creating the content, I was going to do it. I just felt like I had a lot more preparation to put into it first, right? And so I just think people need to take more awareness into that space, that preparation is a part of starting. You know, at the beginning, there's the preparation phase, and that is just as important as picking up a camera or picking up your phone and starting to shoot videos or starting that business or starting that clothing brand, whatever it may be. It's just as important. And you have to really take that time in that preparation phase to, one, get to know who you are, figure out your gifts and talents, figure out how you want to go about this, figure out why this thing resonates with you so deeply. Get clear on your intentions and the reason why, because if you're doing it for money, if you're doing it to try to get famous or try to get big, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You got to genuinely love something, right? And for me, during that preparation phase, I spent so much time diving into these topics, diving into this lane of content, that I figured out that I genuinely love this type of stuff. I genuinely love connection and real conversation and substance under the topics, you know, and under the conversations and the dialogue. And so I just had to figure out my own lane, and over time I kept taking those steps. I kept keeping my mind open. I kept a positive attitude. I kept researching. I kept studying, and I kept writing down my goals and my visions, and eventually it manifested itself into reality. So now, you know, I pick up my iPhone and I just start going on the street and doing interviews with people on the street. And then it turned to interviews with people on the street to doing a podcast with my iPhone, right? I had a mic, I had an audio interface, so I just set up my iPhone, and me and one of my bros that I was living with, we just did a podcast. So we would sit down and just talk about different topics. And then it turned to me upgrading to a camera after all this time and playing around with, you know, different angles and learning how to use a camera and learning how to edit, because that was one thing that scared the hell out of me, was editing. I was like, I want to do what these content creators do, but I don't want to edit because I feel like I'm not good. And I just kept taking one step at a time. I just kept preparing myself and gaining that mental clarity, working on the things that I had to work on when there was really not much to show for it on the outside, but I knew that I was doing work that nobody could see behind the scenes, right? And eventually it manifested itself into reality, and now I'm sitting here in front of a camera speaking to you about the things that I had just went through with the preparing myself and starting and picking up a camera and learning all this stuff. And it all came because I didn't allow myself to feel like I wasn't enough or good enough to do this because I didn't have anything to show for it. Because I knew deep down that I was starting by journaling, by researching, by studying, by figuring out the lane I wanted to go down. I was starting the process of getting to where I want to be in this space. And then on the flip side of it, right, there's a big difference between preparation and paralyzation. And a lot of people become paralyzed. So they'll have an idea or they'll have a concept that they want to bring into fruition. They want to bring into reality. They want to start doing, right? And they'll sit with it for so long that it becomes this huge mountain in their mind, and eventually they just never start because it becomes so big. Oh man, I don't have the nice camera. Oh, I don't even know how to edit. Oh man, I don't even know where to start. Oh man, what are people gonna think of me? All these things that you allow to build up in your mind that stop you from starting. And that's what I call paralyzation, and a lot of people do that. And I can see why so many people say just pick up whatever you have and start, right? Whatever it may be, just try to start today, because it kind of forces you out of, becoming paralyzed. But at the same time, if you can be real with yourself and say, listen, I know I want to do this and I know I'm going to do this. I just have to prepare myself. I have to get a little bit more clear mentally on what I want to do and how I want to do it. Then go down that route and trust yourself that through that preparation phase, you will cultivate healthier habits, you'll cultivate a clearer vision, you'll cultivate mental clarity, and you'll understand the way you want to go about it, and you'll execute it in the way that is supposed to be executed. And when you do execute it, maybe things don't work out the first or second time, but through that preparation phase, you've built up resilience and you've built up consistency. So no matter what happens in the process, you're going to continue to put your best foot forward. You're going to continue to take steps and try because you know that this thing resonates with you, right? And the thing can change, but you know that this path is where you're meant to go, and you're going to keep taking steps down this path no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you mess up or make mistakes. You're going to keep going. And you cultivated that energy and that mindset through that preparation phase at the beginning, and that is starting. Preparing yourself to execute is a part of starting, so don't be so discouraged if you haven't picked up a camera yet, or if you haven't started that business or that brand or that idea or that hobby. Don't be so discouraged if you haven't done it yet, right? And like physically, you haven't done it yet. And understand that you could just be in the season of preparation. You can just be in the preparation phase, and take that time to say, okay, if I don't have anything physically to show for it, if I'm not willing right now to pick up a camera or pick up the business and start all these things, what can I do in this moment to help me get there? Well, research, study, write down things, write down ideas, be a student of life, be a student of the subject, topic, idea, whatever it is that you want to get into and lane that you want to get into. And it will help you tremendously, get to where you want to be. But remember that preparing yourself, gaining mental clarity, writing down ideas, writing down goals, researching, studying, that is all a part of starting. So don't feel discouraged when you have nothing to show for it, and I just felt that was heavy on my mind to talk about, because I just remember how I had certain moments where I felt so discouraged because I kept seeing these videos of the best time to start is now. If you're not doing it, you're not going to start. All the stuff that was just making me feel discouraged because I hadn't physically started making the content that I wanted to make. But I knew that I was preparing myself and I was shifting into the energy necessary to move and execute in the way that I wanted to, right? So just keep that in mind, that preparation is starting. Preparing yourself is starting. And understand that we're going to be in different seasons and we're going to be in different phases, and there's different phases of the starting process and of you getting to where you want to be. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to leave you guys with that. Definitely let me know your comments down below and give me some insight on what you guys think about, you know, the idea of starting and all this stuff, and how you guys go about that when it comes to, you know, going after a dream or a goal or a hobby or wanting to create something, whatever it may be. Definitely let me know. And I really do appreciate you guys watching. If you guys watched all the way up until this point, you guys are real ones. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, do all that, and continue to stay along for the journey. And definitely comment some other topics and other ideas that you guys want me to touch on. Yeah, we're gonna keep growing together. So we're gonna keep, you know, taking it day by day, step by step, and embracing the journey. So I appreciate you, and y'all have a great night.